Hey guys, welcome back to the Refs Crease. Refs Crease is brought to you as always by www.refcoach.ca. Make sure that you check us out for all your tips and tricks to be the best official that you can be. Recently, I had to actually line a hockey game, which I haven't done for quite some time. I call a lot of games, and I'm not usually asked to line games. So it got me thinking that I don't think I've done any podcasts specifically for Lions people. So with that being said, here we go. I'm going to do one. So I want to talk about some of the stuff that we can do to be the best at the Lions person position that we can be. The first one is be where we need to be at all times. I know that this may seem like a no-brainer, but it's not something that gets thought about all the time. Um, when you're going with the play, you want to try to be ahead of it as much as possible. And as it's entering the zone, we want to try to be a couple of feet inside the line as that play is coming in. This allows us to see the line clearly, and then if there is an offside, we can make that call decisively without anything distracting or distorting our view. We get a good sight line. The same goes for when the play is in the zone, which would then make it the defending zone. You want to help those guys out by standing a couple feet outside of the line so that when they're trying to clear, they can do that effectively. And again, we can see the whole line. If that puck is kept in at the blue line, we can see whether it actually was successfully kept in or if it was offside. Um, this also allows us to not affect the play going either way. With the team coming in, if they decide to shoot it in and it does happen to hit you, it hits you inside the zone and it doesn't cause it to hit you and then bounce back out or stay out as the play's coming through, thus putting guys offside. With the team defending and trying to clear the zone, this allows them to get the puck out successfully and it doesn't keep it in and therefore give the offensive team an advantage of keeping that puck in when it normally could have been cleared. This is super important because we want to affect the play. I mean, the ultimate goal is to not affect the play at all. But if it does happen to hit us, which can happen and probably will happen at some point in your officiating career, it doesn't affect the play. That's the important one. The next thing that we want to do is make sure that we get into the zone as soon as possible on stoppages. Um, this, as you move up in levels and it gets more competitive, this is more important. And the reason for that is at stoppages is, that's where the rough stuff's going to start. Especially at the net. If there's stoppages for pucks covered or pucks at the net, that's where defensemen are going to want to protect their goalie and clear the crease and do all that stuff they like to say that they want to do. And things can get nasty. If you're stuck flat-footed and you haven't gotten into the zone yet, then and that rough stuff starts, then you're put at a disadvantage, and it just takes you that much longer to get in there when it's already started. If you're in there quickly, players may be less likely to get into nasty stuff if they know you're there to break it up. You notice how I said maybe. Even though you're there, it's not always a guarantee. They might go after it anyways, but at least you're there and then you can break it up as quickly as possible. Remember to keep in mind when you are breaking up situations, you know, good communication with your partner and you guys go in when it's safe and that you're both on the same page, you know who everybody's got, and you get into those situations and then break them up. Um, The next one is make sure that you communicate with your partner and the referee or referees that you're working with. Um, I know I say this a lot. You probably hear this a lot from me if you're listening to all the podcasts, but we got to be our own team out there and we got to operate as such. Let your partner know if you're stuck or you're in a position where you don't have a good sight line. This can happen a lot after dropping a puck inside the zone. You can't get out right away. Make sure they've got you covered. And on the flip side of that, if you're the other official in the partnership that's not stuck, let them know you see that they're stuck and you've got them covered. And you're vocal and you everybody knows what's going on. It's always a good idea also to let the referees know what you're seeing and what you're hearing out there. Um, they they have a lot of things to cover and there's a lot of stuff going on, and if you're letting them know what you're seeing and what you're hearing, it helps them gauge the temperature of the game, which I've talked about in a recent podcast, and how that temperature is progressing. This will tell them whether they need to ramp things up or if they can continue as normal, and it gives them a good idea of how the game is progressing. So you're their eyes and their ears out there, and make sure that you're paying attention. Keeping your eyes on the game as well as on the lines, that's super important. And it lets the referees know that you got their back and that you're watching stuff that's going on, and they're confident that the whole ice is covered, so that there's if there are incidents that they may miss because they're embroiled in something else, you're on it, and you're letting them know. And that takes me to my last point, which is remember, report double minor and major penalties to your referee or referees. Remember, as Lions people, we have the ability, but we also have the duty to do this. Any penalty that warrants a double minor or a major, and if it hasn't been caught by the referees, is up to you to report to them, and you do that at the immediate next stoppage in play. The referee can then call that penalty on your behalf, and you can, especially if it's dangerous, you get that player out of the game, which is super important. Excuse me. I recently had a linesman that they executed this perfectly. We had a three-man game going. I was the referee, and we had an incident where I didn't have a good sight line on what was happening coming into the zone, and on the opposite side of my sight line, the linesman saw that a player had actually kicked another player. This is a match penalty, guys, and so they came to me immediately at the next stoppage. They reported it. They had the number, and even though the player had gotten to the bench, we were able to make the call, and that player was removed from the game with a match penalty. And we then, of course, did the report and everything that comes with it at the end of the game. But they knew who it was. They knew where it happened, and I had all the information I needed to assess the penalty appropriately. And then we, like I say, removed that player from the game. This is an important piece in this step that we need to remember if we are the linesman and we are reporting these penalties, is that we make sure we have all the information. We have the player's number and we have the information, because you are reporting this to the referee and they are going to report it on your behalf. So you want all the information possible. I have called this. I have had to make a call for a linesman before where they didn't have this information, and I can tell you it's messy and it's not good for you, and it's not good for the coach of the player that's getting removed. It's very, very difficult, to explain that you're going to remove a player, but you didn't have a number. There are paths you can take for that, but that will be for another podcast and another time. So make sure we've got that information, and it just makes things much smoother. It shows you guys are on the same page, and that you're calling a player safety issue out of the game, which is important. And to the linesman that made this call, if you're listening, you know who you are, and I just want to say great job on that, and thank you very much. It helps a lot. Higher level hockey at 3-man can get ugly at times, and that's where you really want to know that your linesmen have got your back and that everybody's on point seeing the ice. So there you have it, guys. Those are my tips. Try and be the best lines person you can be. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you guys are out there and you're lining regularly, and you think that I missed something important, or you have something to add to this conversation from your experience, then make sure you reach out to me and let's keep it going. And you can always do that by reaching out at www.refcoach.ca, and look for me there. And also, we're on Facebook at Ref Coach Calmar, CALMAR, and also Ref Coach Canada, all one word, on Instagram. As well, guys, if you are listening to this on the podcast, make sure that you follow us, give us a 5-star rating. This will help us get this out to more people as the algorithm picks those up, and then it will branch that out, and we'll try to get this to referees everywhere. Also, we are on YouTube, and if you're watching us there on the Ref's Crease on YouTube, then make sure that you hit that like button, which also gets that algorithm going and gets it out to more people. And let's try to spread this around to everybody. Thanks a lot for listening, and we will see you again next time.